Relative clauses begin with a relative pronoun or a relative adverb. We use who, whom, that to speak about people. The boy who, that is sitting next to me is my nephew. We use which, that to speak about things. The car which, that is parked there is mine. We use whose with people, animals and objects to show possession. He's the man whose job is very dangerous. She has a flat whose interior looks expensive. You can omit who, which, and that if they are the object in the relative clause. The boy who you are looking at is my nephew. You are looking at the boy. He is my nephew. You can't omit who, which, and that if they are the subject in the relative clause. The boy who, that is sitting next to me is my nephew. The boy is sitting next to me. He is my nephew. We use when, that to speak about time. My granny often tells about the time when, that she was young. We use where to speak about places. The hotel where you went last month is very expensive. We use why to speak about reason. I have no idea of why she is crying. There can be defining and non-defining relative clauses. Don't put a relative clause in commas if it gives some necessary information. Defining relative clauses give some necessary information. Mary is the girl who lives next door. Mary is the girl. Which girl? Put a relative clause in commas if its information is additional. Non-defining relative clauses give additional information. This famous writer, who was awarded the Nobel Prize, wrote several novels. This famous writer wrote several novels. Necessary information. Who was awarded the Nobel Prize? Some additional information. To speak about purpose, you can use different options. Clauses of purpose. To, in order to, so as to, plus infinitive. I'm writing this letter in order to tell you some news. So that, plus can, will, for present and future, could, would, for past. I'm writing this letter so that I can, will, tell you some news. I sent that letter so that I could, would, tell you some news. With the view to, with the aim of, plus ing form. I'm writing this letter with the aim of telling you some news. For plus noun, ing form. I'm writing this letter for telling you some news. In case, plus present simple for present, past simple for past. I'm writing this letter in case I tell you some news. I sent that letter in case I told you some news. To speak about negative purpose, you can use different options. So as not, in order not, plus infinitive. He drinks a lot of coffee so as not to fall asleep in the office. So that, plus can't, won't, for present and future, couldn't, wouldn't, for past. He drinks a lot of coffee so that he can't, won't, fall asleep in the office. He drank a lot of coffee so that he couldn't, wouldn't, fall asleep in the office. For fear, plus might, should. He drinks a lot of coffee for fear he might fall asleep in the office. For fear of something, of doing something. He drinks a lot of coffee for fear of falling asleep in the office. To prevent, plus noun, pronoun, plus from, ing form. He drinks a lot of coffee to prevent himself from falling asleep in the office. To avoid, plus ing form. He drinks a lot of coffee to avoid falling asleep in the office. To speak about reason, you can use different options. Because. She doesn't like noisy parties because she's very shy. As. She doesn't like noisy parties as she's very shy. For. Equal to because, very formal. And you have to put a comma. If you're speaking, you have to make a pause. She doesn't like noisy parties, for she's very shy. On the grounds that. She doesn't like noisy parties on the grounds that she's very shy. Because of, due to, plus noun, ing form, the fact that. She doesn't like noisy parties due to being very shy. She doesn't like noisy parties because of the fact that she is very shy. To speak about result, you can use different options. As a result, as a consequence, consequently, therefore, so plus that. The neighbors were too noisy and therefore we had to move. Such plus adjective plus uncountable plural noun plus that. The neighbors were such noisy people that we had to move. The neighbor was such a noisy man that we had to move. Such plus a lot of plus adjective plus noun plus that. There was such a lot of noise in the neighborhood that we had to move. So plus adjective, adverb plus that. The neighbors were so noisy that we had to move. So plus few, little, many, much plus noun plus that. There was so much noise in the neighborhood that we had to move. So plus adjective plus an plus noun plus that. The neighbor was so noisy a man that we had to move.